Okay, so I just have to say something before we start. If being fat / overweight affected your dick size
It does.
in like a
Significant way.
correlative way, right?
I mean-
Positively correlative way. That's probably not the way to say
Oh, you mean
that
like
word.
the fatter you are, the bigger
Like
it
the
is?
fatter you are, the bigger your dick is.
Mm-hmm.
If that was true, we would see a lot of big fat boys around. It's cuffing season.
Wow.
When a
Big
big boy. Little big boy.
I haven't heard that in so long. Oh my God.
Anyway, now that I have broken the ice, and this is probably your first time seeing us, welcome.
Sorry for that. I'm sure you clicked away by now.
You never apologize, Roy. You only wait for them to forget. Anyway.
This is how our relationship works.
Did you forget yet? Anyway, so welcome. We are the opposite of name pending. We're thinking about changing it. I don't know.
Hopefully.
But we like to read Reddit stories from the internet. I'm Terry, and this is Royson.
Excuse me?
This is Royson.
No, it's just Roy.
So now we're arguing.
Hopefully she forgets about this.
Hopefully I forget. You know I will forget about it. Anyway. So today we're gonna read 2 stories. We're gonna continue with our shorter format. We're testing it out. We're gonna see how we like it, and I guess that's all the ado. We can just go ahead and get into it. This first story is along the lines of kind of what we read last time, which was like bad boyfriends, I think. But I don't know if this is a boyfriend. Oh, okay. So this is a guy, I think. All right. So this one is titled, I Found Them in Our Bed. It is concluded. It is from Best of Redditor Updates, and it was originally posted to... I actually don't know. Anyway,
the internet.
There's a trigger warning for infidelity, and that's like most stories, honestly. If there's about a couple, there's going to be some sort of something. So the original post was from July of 2020, and it says, last week, I was completely and utterly happy, head over heels in love with my fiance. We've been together for years. We found out in May she was pregnant. Life didn't feel like it could get any better.
Wow. This is sad knowing that this is about infidelity. Anyway, continue.
It could be somebody else's infidelity, Royce, and you don't know.
Oh, okay.
You don't know how it's going to work.
Oh, true. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're being obnoxious. Anyway, I'm an essential worker and still unfortunately have to travel from time to time for my job. I have been trying to cut down on plane travel and will drive if able. Last week I was scheduled to be gone all week, but ended up being able to leave several days ahead of time, but wanted to surprise my fiance. It was an 8-hour drive, but ended up being close to 14 because of traffic and poor timing on my part. I get home around 10:30 p.m. and find her and a coworker in our bed together having sex. She's an assistant producer at a local news station and he's one of the anchors. She immediately tries to defuse the situation and says it's not what I think it is and not to jump to conclusions. He jumps up and puts his clothes on and leaves. I was so angry. I was seeing stars. She tries to talk to me about it, but I don't want to hear it.
Don't jump to conclusions. It's actually something totally different.
No, it's like, what conclusion are you going to jump to other than...
I mean, it's more like, what is this? Go ahead and explain.
I leave and call a buddy and have been staying with him for the past 6 days. I spoke to her on the phone yesterday and she told me it was a one-time thing and she feels like the passion has been missing in our relationship, which I don't agree with at all. I think she was just trying to justify the cheating and gaslit me. So I'm so angry and she won't stop harassing me.
Something to clarify real quick, just because the passion's missing is not an excuse to cheat. But yeah, anyway, continue.
I don't know what to do. We're going to be parents and I don't want anything to do with her. But I'm stuck with her for the next 18 years minimum. She hasn't even apologized. She just keeps trying to justify her actions. So she's pregnant. Yeah. Literally, imagine you're pregnant and you're cheating on your spouse. That's wild.
But also, this is like the paternity test time, unfortunately.
That's true. It would be smart to have a paternity test.
Yeah.
All right. So Well, do you have any comments before we go into the actual comments?
Yeah, I don't know. No, let's read the comments first and then.
Okay. So when it was suggested that the affair may have been going on longer and that he should get a DNA test, he said, "No doubt in my mind, it's been going on longer than one day. They work a lot together, and pre-pandemic, they had a lot of late nights together. I do believe the baby is mine because I didn't really travel anywhere during that time, and she didn't leave the house either. They were only having a couple people in the studio and rotating, but we'll see. Request one for my own but I will request one for my own solace." Someone says, "Is the AP married?" I just Googled him and he doesn't appear to be, and has no pictures of any woman on his social medias, but does follow a lot of our NFL team's cheerleaders and models, lol. So only a matter of time before he strays.
Yeah. And also, he should definitely be getting a STE check, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Just in general, you should always. Update. So sorry for taking so long to update. This week has been...
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, before update. After comments, before update.
Okay.
I don't know. Trying to think if there's like thoughts. I mean, I kind of said the thoughts during the actual thing. Overall, though, this is extremely terrible. The fact that there's still no apology is crazy. Because like that fully is like outright means, hey, if at any point I feel like the passion is lost in our relationship, I'm allowed to cheat. Like,
yeah, that's true. By using that as a justification,
yeah,
it's like it's okay because I'm,
yeah, for whatever excuse. But we should, like, at the very minimum, if she's still trying to say we should keep the relationship, but says that, like, that's where it's messed up.
Yeah. So what
as
does she
opposed
want?
to like, yeah, she should be fully accepting of like this relationship is over at that point. Especially if she's trying to justify it like that. Like,
yeah, like, and to not bring that up to your partner though, it's like that's healthy communication to bring it up to your partner and at least try to have that open communication of like, hey, like this stuff isn't working for me. Like I haven't been feeling this in a while.
Thing. Yeah.
But like he also said he disagrees, and clearly she got pregnant, so they've been doing things together.
Yeah.
Right? Like unless this is one of those.
Like it must have been like I probably got pregnant and then he had to start being like leaving a lot more for work. But then she's not like still for her not to say anything about how the passion's being lost. It's definitely messed up. And then to like cheat is messed up. And then to go back and be like, "Oh, I cheated because the passion's lost," which I never told you. And I was willing to cheat first before like breaking it off. Like, yeah. No.
And another thing that I was thinking about is like, perhaps it wasn't that the passion was gone, but sometimes, like that flirty stage you get where everything's like new, everything's fresh, you get the butterflies. Well, you don't have that with a partner that you have been with for like however long they've been together. I don't know, years and years, 10 years. I don't know.
So she's only craving that pretty much.
Does he say how long they've been together? He just has years.
Yeah.
And so maybe she's spending a lot of time with her coworker. She is probably flirting with him a little bit because he probably flirts with her. This is obviously, I guess, I'm extrapolating, but
yeah. I mean, this is how cheating with coworkers happens.
I could imagine. Really. I mean, because sometimes you end up cheating because there is something missing and you're not communicating in your relationship. But sometimes maybe all it was just she started flirting with this new coworker. It seemed fresh and new. So maybe in her perspective, because she's so used to this, not used to, but like this exciting thing is happening in her life now. And now her actual regular normal committed relationship doesn't seem so like sparkly anymore. You know what I mean?
Grass is greener type.
And so sometimes you like, well, as if I have personal experience, but like just in general, it's like maybe she just thought she could have both for a little bit, and she, and she was like, oh well, he'll never know, so it won't hurt him, so I can just explore this thing. But I don't know what she was thinking, but I mean, that's kind of my thought process.
That seems like, like how a cheater would normally go about it. And like that, the big thing too is just like always thinking like it's okay that I deceive as long as I don't get caught, essentially is what it is. And then, which is like, that's already the bad part like going into the situation and like doing that is the bad part. But then afterward, not apologizing, instead justifying it is like the further
down.
like, oh, it's over part. Like that's where it's like the relationship is done. And like that also means that she should have just been in an open relationship to start with. If that's her view of it, of like, oh, anytime that I'm not having fun with like our sexual relationship or whatever, I'm going to go somewhere else and I feel justified doing so. And like that means that you should not be in a monogamous relationship. You can't do it. Oh.
Yeah, maybe. There's quite a few updates though, so
okay.
I'm going to get to them.
Okay.
So sorry for taking so long to update. This week has been hellish. Met with my friend's lawyer, family law buddy during...
Bird law.
Sorry. Early last week. He contacted her and threatened to go public about their affair, so she was more forthcoming with information. She told him they had been sleeping together for over a year. She's 85% sure the baby is mine because they've never had unprotected sex, but doesn't want to have a DNA test until the baby is born. Lawyer believes the baby is the other guy's based on this comment.
Yeah.
I haven't fully moved out yet, just moved a lot of my clothes into my buddy's place. The lawyer thinks I should sell the house and not let her buy me out because he doesn't think she has the funds and would BS me. Mm-hmm. Also, sorry if I didn't answer you. I got a ton of messages here and in DMs. I tried to answer as much as I could. If you have any other questions, I'll be on for a bit. Firstly, sorry. This is a while later. Mm-hmm. This is like a year later, I think. Mm-hmm. February 2021. Firstly, I'm so sorry it took me so long to update this. My original post is archived, so I thought I would make a new post so you can respond back. Here is my update on the original post.
Oh, sorry. Before we go to it, I just want to make one comment on the previous thing. The previous update is like, I never thought about that before, but that is pretty smart. The idea of like, if you're going through a divorce, just sell the house and then have to deal with it like in a like liquid form for the sake of splitting it, as opposed to a house all in one. I never really thought about that. How the lawyer was saying to do that.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. So he just copy and pasted his update from the old post.
Right.
I'm still blown away by the amount of people checking up on me both in this thread and via DM. I really appreciate the support and love during this trying time. On to what you're here for. We did multiple DNA tests. The baby is mine. He was born a few weeks ago and is by far the greatest thing to happen to me. He makes all this mess worth it. His mother and I are not together. I strictly speak to her about the baby, and that is all. House is sold. Closing is in March, but we do not need to be there. Still living with my buddy, hoping to buy a new home in the next few months for my son and I. I did not go public with the affair out of respect for our son. Her employers know, and she was terminated. He is still working there.
That's fucked up.
That's really fucked.
But yeah, it's an anchor, so yeah. It's he's gonna get all this treatment. Yep.
I'm not sure what their relationship consists of, and I don't care. I'm guessing he bolted. Also, it's maybe they can get away with saying that. Well, obviously misogyny plays a role, right? But I'm wondering if from the employer's perspective, they could make the argument that she was the married one, because the anchor's not married. And so that way it's not adultery on his part. I mean, I could say that, but also
it doesn't matter.
It's kind of messed up that she would get fired.
You don't fire someone because they cheat on their husband. Like, you fire someone because they had an in like work relationship. That's the point.
Well, it could be both.
If it's affecting the work, and like
maybe true.
Technically, having a relationship with a coworker is the problem. If you're going to fire someone for that, like, so there's no reason to fire her for her cheating on her husband who is not working there. Except they're just
sorry. A clarification is she got fired because he turned them in to HR, to their HR. So,
well, yeah, which would still mean that both of them should get fired. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So someone asked, why wasn't AP fired? I have no idea why he wasn't fired. I'm guessing because he's harder to replace, ? Maybe he's on probation. Why doesn't OOP ruin AP's reputation? The problem with ruining his reputation is my ex ends up getting dragged in and then ends up becoming Googleable to our child and his future friends. Why didn't OOP sue the employer? Oh, they did try to offer me money. LOL. My lawyer and I declined. Once I found out my ex was gone, I dropped it. I'm assuming he got into some type of trouble.
You could sue. Wait, how are you suing the employer?
I'm assuming he got into some kind of trouble. I think he might be talking about. He didn't specify very well there who he was referring to, but I think he's talking about the AP guy that didn't get fired, who she was cheating with. So that sucks, but there is now an update almost 3 years later.
Wow.
Almost 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
December 20th, 2024, there was an update, which is why I'm reading this story, because there was a new update. And it says, I made this throwaway 4 years ago when I had found out my ex cheated on me with her coworker. You can read my original post and update here. I've actually completely forgot I made this account until I was going through my email to delete stuff yesterday. I figured I'd log back in and give all the people in situations similar and worse to mine. Similar to and worse than mine, some hope. I was incredibly broken when this happened and tried to put all my feelings aside when our son was born. I'm ashamed to share my feelings, eventually caught up with me and my ex, and my ex and I went at it verbally on multiple occasions. Shortly after, I realized I let her break me and started going to therapy regularly. I went a couple of times before that and didn't think it helped, but once I was consistent, it was a game changer. As a man, I was taught to suck it up and move, but crying and talking about issues does help. I mean, honestly, talking about them, not in a stoic way like I had been doing. My ex and I are actually on friendly terms. She's also in therapy. I'm proud to say we co-parent really well. We do family activities together like opening gifts on Christmas or spending the day with him on his birthday. He's 4. How do I have a 4-year-old? He's so funny. He's so smart, funny, and loves us both so much. We do 50-50 custody. It works for us. She's a great mom. I won't take that away from her. I'm sure this isn't the update some of you wanted to hear, but it's what works best for our son. Honestly, there's a little bit more to the update, but that's like literally the best you can hope for in that situation. Is just you can let her go, do whatever she wants, whatever she's going to do, and just watch out for your son. Mm-hmm. I don't hate her anymore, and she doesn't hate me anymore. We're both in a really good place. No, I don't ever want to be with her again. She apologized to me for her affair. We had a really open and honest conversation with each other like 2 years ago, and it really helped me heal. I got to air out all my feelings, and so did she. AP moved to a new news station like 2.5, 3 years ago in a different state. They don't speak anymore. She's dating, but nothing serious. She does have a new job working in another local news station. She started working with our son when our son was a year old. I'm doing really well, enjoying watching our son grow up. I've been dating someone for the past 2 years. She's the best human I've ever met. She loves my son as her own. She really worked with me to mend my trust issues. Ironically, we met at work. Even my ex likes her and has no problem with her being around our son. Don't worry, I waited a full year to introduce her to our son. Just wanted you all to know things do get better, and although things didn't work out the way I had initially planned, I'm still incredibly happy and our son is thriving.
That's very nice. That's a nice little positive update years later, but yeah.
I know, like 3 years after the last one.
Mm-hmm. I think like what he said at the very beginning of that is like so like very thoughtful of him. The fact that he's making this update for anyone going through this to understand, okay, there isn't like there can be a better outcome at the end.
Right.
Yeah. That's
so
nice.
There are some comments because, of course, people want to know some other answers. I know I have answers that I want. Someone said, I'm more so wondering, did he ever get punished? Someone said, like, if you weren't a more level-headed person, you could have caused a shitstorm for that news station. The fact only she got fired is mind-boggling to me. I would have expected him to be axed immediately for opening them up to a PR nightmare. Also, you said she apologized. Did she ever explain her reasoning behind the affair? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I like hearing the excuses they give.
That's funny.
It's almost comical after so many years of hearing them repeatedly. The OP responded, I honestly know. The OP responded, I don't honestly know. I'm sure there was some sort of action taken. I also think that might be why he left the news station and moved to a different state. People who work in the news industry have contracts that are typically 2 to 3 years long, so that adds up. I never outright asked my ex, and she never said anything to me. I think it was easier to fire her because she was coming to the end of her 2-year contract. I didn't know this at the time. With her station, and she made less money than he did. Viewers wouldn't know she was missing because she was not an on-air talent, so less questions than him being fired. Usually when someone leaves the station, they have a little party and wish them well. They did not do that with this guy. He was on one day and gone the next.
Nice.
We found out on social media he had moved to another station. All his coworkers unfollowed him, so something tells me he was on thin ice at the station. I don't want to get fully into it, but one of her major issues was I worked too much, and she's right. I was working a lot before she was pregnant, and I worked even more when I found out she was pregnant. We had planned to start trying for children after we got married, but she got pregnant before that, and our wedding was canceled because of COVID. So once I checked my ego, I can see how she was lonely and felt like I wasn't there for her. Not a reason to cheat, but the resentment built up.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, message to everyone, make sure you quit your jobs. Not working. I'll go and quit my job too. And you too.
No, it's crazy. Wait, what? Say that again.
No, you already agreed.
What did you say?
Editing Terry can figure out what you just agreed to.
You're so rude. I don't know what you said. I was reading.
Well, I'm happy that at least ended nice, despite the terrible beginning, so we can feel good about ourselves. Still, moral story, don't cheat.
I know, seriously. Cheaters never win and winners never cheat. Well, that part's not true.
Nope.
But anyway, let's see. What was the next story we were going to read, babe? Throwing my husband's dog. Wait, that's not what it was.
Throwing my husband's dog. Dang. That's a very...
I got some of the keywords.
Yeah.
But that's the one we were going to read, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this next one is an Am I the Asshole? It's from the AITAH subreddit. It's also 2 weeks old because that's when I found all these stories. All right. So, am I the asshole for taking my husband's side after he threw my mom's dog?
Oh, taking my husband's side.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I 28 female, and my husband.
Wait. Always, it's the name of the asshole. We got to guess. Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, you deserve that. What the heck?
Okay. What is the answer?
Man. The only possible way it's okay is if the dog was like about to be like biting, abusive or something.
I think they were going to euthanize the dog.
Oh, and so this is just like, it's easier to just throw him. Throw him to his death. Okay.
I read the story. I already know what it is.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Dang. I want to say yeah, like not asshole, because my assumption is that it's because the dog was about to be abusive or like was about to start biting or something.
About to? All right. Sorry.
Scary.
I had a yawn a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's read it. I, 28 female, and my husband, 34 male, live in a large home with a huge backyard. We have 3 boys, ages 8, 7, and 4, and we have 3 large dogs. My mother, 54 female, lives in a camper currently and owns 3 dogs, 1 large dog and 2 small dogs. I should mention that one of the small dogs she has only because her parents died and none of her other siblings would take the dog. Because she lives in a camper and pays rent in an RV park, she's only allowed to have 2 dogs. So my husband and I agreed to watch one of the dogs for her at a time until she can buy a home. Currently, we have a large dog, a black lab / Rottweiler mix. Now on to what happened. Yesterday, my 4-year-old was going into the backyard to play. As soon as he opened the door, I heard dogs fighting and my son yelling at them to stop. The dogs were fighting were one of my large dogs and my mom's dog. I grabbed my son out of the way and attempted to get the 2 dogs off each other while screaming for my husband. I'm a dog lover, so please don't hate me, but I did smack each dog on the snout to try to get them to stop. My mom's dog latched onto my arm and drew blood even through my thick sweatshirt. My husband came out when she was latched onto me and grabbed her by the collar and threw her off me, unfortunately landing on top of an outdoor table, but quickly jumping back to her feet. Both dogs are fine, no blood or injuries. My son is perfect. I'm okay. I just have some teeth marks and puncture wounds to my arm. Luckily, I was wearing a thick sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm.
When I told my mom about the incident, I sent her the footage on our security cameras and told her in advance that I was sorry for hitting her dog's snout and sorry for my husband throwing her dog off me. She responded by saying she didn't want to see her dogs getting hit or thrown, which I understand, which things are tense now, and I'm starting to think maybe my husband and I overreacted.
Well,
hold on. Everything happened so fast, and this is my second time getting bit by a dog in a similar situation, so it was really scary. Am I the asshole?
Yeah. Wait, this is the second time it said?
Yeah, that was the second time she got bit in a similar scenario.
Oh, okay. Like with the mom's dog or just in general?
She didn't say that. She
Okay,
said in a similar scenario.
Yeah. I don't know. I would probably say that deserved.
No, at that point, like, whatever you have to do. Really.
Yeah. It's not like they like aimed for the table. It's just kind of like you just throw the dog off, like, and what happens, and it's unfortunate.
Right.
And I think
it's
the
a
main
big
thing,
dog.
yeah, and then the main thing, of course, is like the question of like injuries or not. So I guess maybe like bring the dog in to check to a vet or something, but.
I mean, that's the owner's responsibility, but it's one of those things where it's like, clearly that dog was not doing so hot. Like, you know?
It should, despite its fight with the other dog, it should know not to bite the owner ever. So, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. People are saying, like, obviously, well, you shouldn't be watching your mom's dog now because obviously, like, your kid's safety comes first, you know, and your safety.
Mm-hmm.
She said, we agreed for her to come get her dog and give us one of the small dogs who wouldn't hurt a fly, for now. She could only have 2 dogs at a time, and the third dog was put on her after her parents died. She wasn't going to give him to a shelter. It's a tough situation, and because we have the space, I help.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate, but real.
And people are just saying, like, don't let the big dog come back. Just take one of the smaller dogs. Like, it's not worth it. It could attack your kids next. Like, and I totally agree with that. Like, no.
Yeah.
At that point, if she can't handle the job of the dog,
Mm-hmm.
then she should probably look into rehoming the dog. Because if she can't handle the dog, and you can't handle the dog because you already have dogs, that's a lot of dogs in that situation. I mean, look, hold on, let me go back to where...
It's 3 dogs and 3 dogs. There's a total of 6 dogs right now. So
yeah, true. They have 3 large dogs. She has a large dog and 2 small dogs. So, yeah, no. That's too many dogs in one situation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
There was a story recently I heard. A little girl got... I guess it's not murder because it's animals, but she got killed by a whole bunch of dogs that she was left alone in the backyard with. And I don't remember what kind of dogs they were. They were either pits or like Rottweilers or something like that.
By the way, like very aggressive dogs.
They can be aggressive dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they apparently ended up having like a pack mentality or something and just like tore her to shreds. I don't know the exact
horrifying.
details.
That's horrifying.
But it was very, very sad.
Yeah.
That was recently. That was only a couple months ago that I heard that story.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the U.S.
Yeah. Which
Very
also is
sad.
like, yeah, there's so many like questions of abuse going on in that scenario.
She was young. She was, I think, under 8.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think she was like somewhere between 6 and 9.
This is Terry's anti-dog campaign.
I'm not anti-dog. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not anti-dog. I am allergic to animals for the most part, though. So I'm okay with not having dogs.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That definitely brings up questions of was there abuse involved at all? Because even still, like, it's not normal for dogs to want to like decide to like rip someone to shreds. So
well, it's hard for us to know.
Yeah.
Because from what I've heard, okay, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because I don't know that much about dogs, and I don't want to spread misinformation about how dogs work.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not unheard of in my brain. It doesn't seem unheard of to me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot about that particular situation, but this situation about the mother's dog, it's kind of a tough situation, and it seems that what they've been doing is not helping anymore.
Yeah.
And they need to figure something else out, unfortunately.
That also makes me wonder, I mean, like, if the mother, like the one who owns that dog, the abusive dog or like the aggressive dog, was like still more on the side of like, I don't want you doing that to my dog. Like, maybe if she was just kind of like, I guess I understand, but I don't like it. Versus like if she was like full excusing it is the difference, because like that's like, okay, maybe this is why that dog stays aggressive because it's not checked.
Oh, maybe that's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, there's so many different ways of training a dog.
We don't have a lot of that information to make judgments about if the mom is a good caregiver or not.
Yeah.
But she's not allowed to have the dog. And so the dog is not having a lot of stability, definitely, for sure, because it's going back and forth.
So I would say that dog specifically should actually just stay in one home, and probably the grandma's home or whatever the whole time. That's what I'm saying. Maybe, I don't know if the grandma lets that dog be aggressive. And that's why it thought it could be like, it learned that,
I don't know.
Yeah.
This
Maybe
is something that I don't have a lot of expertise in.
Mm-hmm. We don't know enough about dogs.
I don't really know a whole lot about animals, and I don't really know a whole lot about dogs either. So
I know some of y'all own dogs. Comment. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of this story, because we're at a loss. I don't think anyone's an a-hole in this situation. I definitely think it's just kind of tough, and they should just look into rehoming that dog, to be honest with you. There's going to be somebody out there that can handle it and train that dog if need be.
I mean, I think the other thing too, if like just only take the like nicer dogs for now.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the grandma is trying to move in a place where she can have all 3 dogs. If you rehome that dog entirely, then you just lose that dog forever. And if the grandma wants the dog, then it is still messed up to just say no rehoming anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wish we had a little bit more information to make a judgment with, but what they asked for is, am I the asshole? And definitely no. I don't think there's any assholes in this story other than the dog.
Those comes also the question of like, if that was the bad thing to do in that scenario, what would you do instead? How would you like treat that? Because I don't know dogs, no idea what that correct scenario is.
That could be the question of the day. So if you got this far in the video, let us know what you think about that dog story and the first story too. I want to know. I do think both of these stories are kind of wild. They're both about dogs.
Wow.
Trying to tie it in somewhere. Anyway, I guess if you got this far in the story, type dog type dog in the comments, or put a dog emoji or something like that. Just to let us know that you got to the end of the video. And I guess that's really all we have for you. So hit like if you liked, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, and bye.